G'day and welcome to the Tech Math channel. What I'm going to be having a look at in this video is I'm going to be looking at dividing fractions. So I'm going to try to explain, I'm going to explain how to do the most simple ones of these, and we're going to work on some mixed numbers and things like this, and then I'll give you some examples to work on by yourself. So how to divide fractions. Now, when we're doing these, it's really, really important to realise that dividing fractions is much like multiplying fractions. It just involves an extra step, okay? And so if you can work out this extra step, you'll have absolutely no problems doing it. So I'll give you an example. Say I wanted to know what a quarter divided by a half is. Okay? Now, how many groups of a half are in a quarter? So it might seem a bit strange to think about, okay? And often it is when you first start doing these. The way that we do these is really, really simple, and it's as follows. We basically just have to change this part here to a times, okay? We keep the quarter the same, but what we do is we flip the denominator and the numerator here, okay? So we flip these around and make them change position. We turn them on their head, so to speak. So the 2 ends up the top, and the 1 ends up down the bottom, okay? And then we multiply this out, so 1 times 2 is 2, and 4 times 1 is 4. This, we can actually, there's a number that goes into both 2 and 4, which is 2, so 2 goes into 2 once, and it goes into 4 twice, so this is the same as a half, okay? So how did you go with that? So how many, this might be a way you might think about this too, because in a quarter, and you want to divide it by halves, this is quite a difficult thing to think about, I think, when you're first doing these. But if you can imagine a quarter, okay, you can imagine a quarter here, all right, and you want to see how many times here a half goes into it. Well, it doesn't go into it actually, only half of it manages, okay, we've only got half this actual amount there, so this is our answer, which is a half, okay? You can probably see we did it the other way and said how many quarters in a half. In fact, let's work that out. Maybe this will be a good one for you to work out if you didn't quite get that. So let's do this particular one, which is what's a half divided by a quarter? Okay? So the way that we do this is as follows. We start with our half. We're going to change this to times, and this is going to become, flip these over, so this will become 4 over 2. 4 over 2, 4 over 1. I apologise about that, I'm making a mistake there. Okay, because this is a 1, so it goes down here. So 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. So 4 divided by 2, 4 over 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So you might be able to think about this. I can draw my half, and you want to divide this into quarters. Well, divide this, see how many times quarter goes into it, and so you'll see there's 1, 2 quarters. So we're seeing how many times quarter goes into it, and there's 1, 2 quarters in there. Do you get that? Okay, let's go another example. Then I'm going to put some ones with mixed numbers up and see how you go with those. They're also pretty easy, okay? So what about we do 3 quarters divided by a half? All right? So we change this into 3 quarters. Well, that's the same, isn't it? We change it to times, and then we flip these guys around. So 2 goes up here, 1 goes down here, and we multiply them out. 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 1 is 4, 6 divided by 4, it equals 1, and there's 2 left over, 2 over 4. We can actually see that there's a number that goes into both the 2 and the 4 here. So we get 1, and 2 goes into this once, and 2 goes into this 4 twice. So the answer is 1.5. Okay. Now, Ori, how'd you go with those? Hopefully you're going pretty good. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a couple of mixed number ones to work with now. So let's do those. What about we do, so say, what is 2.5 divided by a quarter? Now you might be able to actually think, okay, I know the answer to that one. You might be able to think, how many quarters are in 2.5? Okay, maybe you can think about that right now. if you could work that out. Anyway, I'm going to start working out the answer on this. So, as we will look at in other videos, the way that we can change this 2.5 here into, we have to change this 2.5 here. Let me start again. We have to change this 2.5 here, this mixed number, into an improper fraction, okay? So this will be where there's no whole number, it's just a number over the top of another number. And it's called improper because this number at the top will be bigger and this number down the bottom will be smaller. And the way that we do that is as follows. It was this number times this number plus this number. So we end up with a 5, and we put that over a 2. Now, I'll explain that really, really quickly again for you guys who haven't seen my other videos where I talk about mixed numbers to improper fractions. If you can imagine 2.5, okay, there's my 2.5. Okay, I'm drawing them as halves here. So there's 1, 2, there's 1, there's 2.5. You can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 halves here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 halves. Okay, now, so when I'm doing that first part, 2 times 2, it's 2 times 2 here because they're halves. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 2s are 4 plus 1 gives us that 5 bit. And we're talking about halves, so this is the number that goes on the bottom. Okay, so I'd have to times this now by what? Okay, I'm going to flip this over. This is going to become 4 over 1. So let's do this. 5 4s are 20. And we're going to put that over 2 times 1, which is 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. That sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you can imagine 2.5, this is my 2.5 here, there would be, I'll see if I can colour this in. There's 1 quarter here, there's 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters, 5 quarters, 6 quarters, 7 quarters, 8 quarters, 9 quarters, 10 quarters. Okay, so there's 10 lots of a quarter there. So how'd you go with that? Hopefully pretty good. I'll tell you what, I'll give you another one of those. If you get confused with these mixed numbers, by the way, I have other videos which look at these, so definitely go and have a look on my channel for these. So what about we do 3 1/4, and I'm going to divide that by, I'll tell you what, I'm going to divide one mixed number by another mixed number. I'm going to divide this by 2 1/3. All right? Sure. Wow, I can understand if you looked at that and you thought, I have no idea what that is off the top of my head. I'll tell you what, I actually don't either. But I'll show you how I'd work it out. So first off, I'm going to change these into improper fractions. Okay, I'm going to sort of do a number of steps all at once here. But first off, I'll change these to improper fractions. So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13 over 4. And this number over here, I'm going to chuck the answer that's over here, by the way, because, and you'll see why in a sec. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1 is 7 over 3. Okay, and the reason I've chucked this over here is because down here, which is my next part of my working out, I'm going to times, and I'm going to flip this around. So 3 over 7. So let's have a look at this. 13 times 3. 13 times 3, the answer to that is 39. And 4 times 7 is 28. Okay. 39 divided by 28, there is one of those. And to get from 28 to 39, then we have 11 more. So 11 over 28. A completely horrible answer, I know, but a correct answer. Okay, what about I give you a couple of these to work on by yourself. So let's have a look. I'll get my trusty eraser here, and I'll rub these out, and I'll write up a bunch of them that you can work on. Okay, so let's put 3 of them up. 1, 2, 3. I'll write them down, and then you can work on them, pause it, work on them, and I'll go through the answers. So what is a half divided by a third? What is 2.5 divided by a third? Let's go the third theme. And we'll go 3 2/4. 3 2/4, same as 3 1/2, by the way, which is divided by, let's make this 1 1/3. Okay, we'll stick them with the third theme. Okay, pause this, give it a go. Okay, so I'm going to go through the answers here. So Excuse my bit of working out here because I'm going to run out of room, so I'm going to do a bit of working out on the fly sort of thing. So this 1/3 here, first off, I'm going to change this here to a times. And if I do that, when I do that, I have to change this and this around. So this is going to become 3, and the 1's going to go down here. So 1 times 3 is 3 over 2 times 1, which is 2, which is 1.5, because 3 divided by 2 is 1, with 1 left over. We'll put that over 2. Okay, so now I'm going to do this next one down here. I'm going to change this to a times. And to do that, I'm going to have to change this 3 and put it up the top here, and the 1 down the bottom. So 3 at the top and 1 down the bottom. I'm also going to have to change this mixed number here. Okay, so I'm going to do that as well. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Okay. Hey, the magic of having computers and erasers, right? It makes life so much easier, right? 5 times 3 is 15. And 2 times 1 is 2. 15 divided by 2 is 7, because 7 2s are 14, and there's 1 left over, so that becomes 1.5. Okay, let's do this next question. So, with the magic of erasers and that sort of deal, I'm going to do that as well. So I'm going to change these both. First off, I'm going to change them into improper fractions. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Okay, put that line back there. And this one here, 1 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4, so it's going to become a 4. Then I'm going to have to turn these guys upside down and change that to a times. So let me do that. I'm going to change this to a times. And I'm going to turn these guys upside down here. So the 4 is going to go on the bottom, and the 3 is going to go up the top. 3 up the top, 4 at the bottom. Let's work on this now. 14 times 3, the answer to that is 42. 4 times 4 is 16. So how many times does 16 go into 42? So it goes in twice, because 2 times 16 is 32, and there is 10 left over. So 10 over 16. I can take this a step further, because 2 goes into both of these numbers, so we're going to get the answer of 2. And 2 goes into this 5 times, and it goes into this one 8 times. So 2 and 5/8. So how did you go with those? Okay, it looks like you've just been multiplying fractions, and that's what you have been doing, and that's how we divide fractions. So hopefully you did really good. Any questions, any comments, put them up. Okay, see you next time.